Good morning. Welcome to Gist and Unwind. My name is Nonye, and I am excited and happy to have you on here with me. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a pharmacy related topic, and it's about the Shingrix versus the Zostavax vaccination. Um, if you don't know what that is, don't worry, stay tuned. I'm going to explain everything for you. Um, this episode is going to be very helpful for a particular audience. You may not fall into that audience. It's going to be for people who are immunocompromised, quote unquote, or the older population, people over 50. If you don't fall into any of those, that's fine. You can still listen because no information is useless. I suppose there are some that could be useless, but this one isn't. Okay, so hang around and listen, and you might have friends and family in your life that this information will be particularly helpful for. So please listen. Don't quit. So moving right along, we're not going to waste too much time. We're gonna, like I said, I'm talking to you about the Shingrix versus the Zostavax vaccination. Um, I work in the retail setting. I'm a retail pharmacist, so a lot of times we are the pharmacists in the retail in the community. We are the first line defense for a lot of people when it comes to their health. It's very easy to get in touch with one of us. You just have to walk into a pharmacy and ask or request to speak to the pharmacist, as opposed to other healthcare professionals where you have to. There's some a little bit more effort into getting an opportunity to have a face-to-face interaction with them. You have to book an appointment most times, and that might take time, as opposed to just driving up to your local pharmacist and asking them whatever question they ask you. I find that this is one of the better parts of my job. It's also one of the more impactful and meaningful. So what I want to do with this medium is, whenever I have a question that is interesting, or I feel like a lot more people are going to have it, because a lot of questions are repeat questions. But any interesting question I find, I'm going to try to share it with you guys on here, and especially ones that I may not know the answer right off the back, because I love to learn, I love to research, so it gives me an opportunity to do that, and then it also gives me content for the podcast. So again, Shingrix versus Zostavax. These names, if you're unfamiliar with it, they are the two vaccinations that are available for shingles. What is shingles? Well, for most of us, we've had the chicken pox. It's estimated that over 99% of people 50 years and over worldwide, and over 99% and over of I don't know what I just said, but so let me repeat that. The numbers are they're too much. They're too many of them. So worldwide, 99% of people 50 years and over have had chickenpox or been exposed to it. In the United States, 99% of people 40 years and over have been exposed to chickenpox, have had it. So that's the majority of us. And if you've had chickenpox, the virus does not just disappear from your body. After you build immunity to it that first time, what it does, the immunity keeps the virus dormant in your in nerve cells in your body. And for the majority of us, it's going to stay like that until we die, and it never comes back up. But for the people who are quote unquote immunocompromised, where their immune system is no longer robust enough to keep that virus inactive, there's a chance that this virus can come back again later on in life and cause another infection or disease, except this time it's no longer called chickenpox, it's shingles. And one of the hallmarks of shingles is, well, a couple of the hallmarks is it starts off as rashes and eventually turns into pustules, and it scabs over and then falls away. But the particular hallmark here that I'm going to emphasize is that it's painful. And depending on what side of your body that it affects, because it could affect you anywhere depending on which nerve cells virus is reactivated. It has different effects. Some people, it affects them around their eye, and it could actually lead to blindness. Now, this is the extreme case. Not everybody's going to get to that. But one thing that is common is the pain. People describe it often as stabbing pain. And then when it lasts on, even after the rashes and the shingles case is seemingly gone, like your body, you don't have the scabs or anything anymore, some people still have that pain for years later, and they describe it as a burning pain. I had patients that actually take medication for this pain. I have patients who take medication because of complications that resulted, other than pain, that resulted from their shingles. So the gist of my story is that it's not a fun disease to have. It's not a fun infection, as if there's anyone that is fun. But, the pain is not something that it's not something that anybody who had a choice not to go through it would, how do I get this out? If you could avoid it, chances are you're probably going to want to do that. So, that's a brief synopsis or a brief introduction to what shingles is. Now, who can get shingles? Like I told you, it's people who are immunocompromised. That means your immune system has been compromised for some reason, and it's no longer as strong as it once was. So there are 3 particular groups of people that this could affect. If you have a disease or a disease state that makes your immune system a little bit less strong as it used to be, for example, people who have HIV virus or who have full-blown AIDS, that's a particular class. If you are taking any medication that weakens your immune system, some people have diseases that are due to an overactive immune system, or not necessarily an overactive, but it's due to their immune system, and sometimes they have to take medications to suppress their immune system. An example is rheumatoid arthritis, lupus. These are 2 examples. So they might be taking medications that weakens their immune system. Well, when that happens, this is a global effect. It's not just making that particular disease that you're taking the medication, it's not just affecting that, it's affecting everything. So there's a chance that if this virus is in your body, it could get reactivated if you are taking immune system weakening drugs. And then last but not least, this is the majority of it, is our older population. As we get older, our immune system is not what it once was, like a lot of things in our body. So this is a large class of people, and often the more targeted group for shingles. So now let me move on to the part of the vaccination. If you've been in a retail pharmacy in the US in the last couple of years, chances are somebody asked you, and you fall into any of these groups, especially if you're older, chances are somebody asked you to get a Zostavax or a shingles vaccination. Shingles is a disease. Zostavax was the only available vaccination up until last year. There's a huge chance that if your insurance paid for it, that you went ahead and got it. And now you fast forward to October of 2017, you come to the pharmacy again, and they're asking you to get a Shingrix vaccination. And you ask, what is that? And they tell you it's for shingles. And then you say, well, I've already gotten vaccinated for shingles. I had the Zostavax whenever I had it. And they tell you, well, this is a new vaccination and it's recommended that you get it. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people have questions about this. I haven't gotten a question because I have been, I've been out of commission for a few months. Not a few months, but I haven't been in commission. But I know that a lot of people are going to have this question. And I don't blame you, because you've gotten the Zostavax, and Zostavax for a lot of people was expensive if your insurance wasn't going to pay for it. And even if they paid, still sometimes you had a high copay. And now there's another one and it's recommended. Why? So let me give you the differences between the two of them and tell you why the CDC is asking that even if you've already gotten Zostavax, you probably should get a Shingrix vaccination, and why this is the new one is the recommended one. Simply put, it's the better vaccine, right? Zostavax was all we had, and because that was the only thing we had, the only line of defense that we had, that's all we offered. And before I proceed, I also want to tell you that shingles, unlike chickenpox, can reoccur. So once you have chickenpox, you have it once in your life and you never have it again. Not so for shingles. Shingles could always come back. As long as that virus is in your body, as long as your immune system is playing games with you, it could always come back. The only thing is that when it comes back, sometimes, perhaps many times, it's not as strong as previous cases. So we ask that even if you've already had shingles, that you still get vaccinated for, yes, you still get vaccinated. So where was I? Like I was saying, Shingrix is just the better vaccine. Zostavax, it's a one-time shot, but research shows that after 5 years, the immunity that it gives you wanes. It falls off, and it falls off pretty dramatically, especially for the older audience. But the thing is that if you dig into literature, you find out that the immunity wasn't that much to begin with. It decreased. It was about a 51%, 51% effective, which is not, that's a 50-50 shot. So it's not that high to begin with. And then when it falls off, it's almost as if you didn't, one would think that maybe it's as good as not getting any vaccine. It's not quite that bad, but for the price maybe and the fact that you actually got vaccinated and put in the effort to try to prevent this disease, it's not encouraging, the numbers, I suppose. But for a long time, that's all we had. So that's all we offered you. That was the only line of defense that we had for you against shingles. Now here comes Shingrix. It's an easier medication for the pharmacy to even have and manage. The other one has to be kept in the freezer, and once it's reconstituted to give you, we have to give it to you within 30 minutes or it's no longer good. This one, those stringent restrictions don't exist, and we can just keep it in the fridge as opposed to the freezer. I think that's what I said about the Zostavax. The Zostavax needs to be in this freezer. This one does not. And this, the Shingrix, it offers you a higher immunity, and it stays on even longer. It's effective, more than 90% effective for all age groups, while Zostavax, it falls off dramatically it's not high to begin with, and then it falls off for the older people who are the people who actually need it. And if Zostavax, if the immunity is falling off after 5 years, that means when you're needing it, because the longer you live, the older you get, the more you need it. So instead of it when you need it the most, that's when it seems to not be as effective. That's why, a lot of people who've had Zostavax, the vaccination, still get shingles. I hear that a lot in the pharmacy. They tell me, oh, I got the vaccine and I still got shingles. The only thing is that when that happens, and why it would still recommended is that the case, if you do get shingles after getting your Zostavax vaccination, it's not as it may not be the infection may not be as strong as it could have been had you not getting protected or gotten vaccinated. So the Shingrix is 2 shots. You get it 2 to 6 months apart. So you get the first one and you come back in about 2 to 6 months to get the second one. The individual cost without insurance is, this is a range. So it's going to vary from the pharmacy. And of course, if you're not in the United States, that's going to play a role. Let me pull up where is my so for Zostavax, if you don't have insurance, it's $236. So it's about that range depending on where you go. The Shingrix is 2 shots, and each is about $167. So the Shingrix is a bit more expensive, but what do you expect? This new company is trying to make their own coins. They're trying to make money, and I'm not surprised that it's not cheaper than what was previously available. And I shouldn't put that out there. I don't know why it's more expensive. Maybe it's a better vaccine, so maybe the engineering behind it's more. So that might be the reason why it's more expensive. So let me not try to put any speculations out there. So, like I said, it's recommended that you get this if you haven't had shingles. If you've had shingles, still go ahead and get it, because like I said, you could always still get it could always return, unlike the chicken pox. It's not a one-time thing. And if you've had the Zostavax vaccination, it's recommended that you still get this. Why? Because of the reasons I previously talked about, that the immunity that you have with Zostavax is not the most robust that you can get. So it's recommended that you get this to to boost up your immune system. And hopefully the insurance companies with time are going to put this into their plans. And the wait period after the 2 of them. Geez, you guys are gonna... I had this written down. I don't want to search for it, but I might have to do that. Give me just a second, so that you are clear on that. Okay, so if you've had shingles, there's no wait period after you've had shingles to get the shot. Just make sure that the rash and the pustules are gone, and then you can get the shot. I know with the Zostavax, sometimes we used to wait 6 months after your shingles case has resolved to give you that. But this one, as long as it's clearly gone, you can get the shot. And then if you've had Zostavax, the vaccination, it's recommended that you wait 8 weeks, so 2 months after that, to start your Shringrix vaccination. And that is about it for this. I think I've covered most of the general questions that one may have about this particular topic. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave it to me in the comment section, or you could message me, Facebook, SoundCloud, wherever you find this. Send me a message. I'll be more than happy to answer that. If you have other questions, please, I welcome it. Especially if I don't know the answer, I will be more than excited to try to find an answer for you. And if it's something I feel like more people should hear about besides you, I'll be more than happy to share it on this medium. So please, please, please leave me a message, get in touch with me, and thank you for taking out the time in your day to listen to this podcast. And make sure you check the other all our podcasts that are not pharmacy related. Some have other topics, so please check those out. Those might be appealing to you as well. And until next time, God bless you, and I will see you all or talk to you later. Peace.